Hey, what's going on, guys? So Kotobukiya's M.S.G variable frame system is back here with the second release in this line, the Garudagear Diablo, which is now in a cool new color scheme. If you guys missed my review of the first kit out in this series, I loved it and I can't recommend it enough. If you missed that kit, definitely check out this kit. I'm anticipating it's going to be just as good. We've got a cool new color scheme and a little bit different design for this one, but if you're lamenting the fact that Bandai doesn't make a whole lot of Master Grade model kits these days, definitely going to want to check this out. Also, if you're a Macross fan, definitely going to want to check this out because this is a transforming kit, very similar to a Macross, transforms between a robot form and a jet form. So there's a lot to love. Let's go ahead and get into it for today's video. We'll check out the box art here before we dive into the contents and check out the kit. We've got the artwork over here showing the transformation between the kind of mobile suit mode, we'll call it for lack of a better word, and the fighter mode. And then over here, just the full CG render of what the Garudagear Diablo is going to look like right there. As you can see, it's in a pretty large size box with the ends of the box featuring the Diablo here in an action pose, and the bottom of the box showing what the kit is going to look like all built up and everything there, front and back. And then fighter mode. Okay, so I was right with calling it fighter mode. That's good. It has either just like kind of regular wings or reverse wings, I guess, is an option for how you might want to display that. We've got some landing gear included, and there's a couple of other detail shots of, I think that's the weapon in the shield and the weapon there in the forearms, it looks like. And on the top of the box, here's a look showing the internal frame that we have with this one. So like I said, comparing it to a Master Grade, we do have a full inner frame in there and an unpainted sample. There's how it's going to look straight out of the box without any paint on it. And the MSRP for this one coming in at 8,000 yen. While this is not to scale, it's roughly the same size as a 1/100 scale kit. So for a 1/100 scale kit like this, basically a transforming Master Grade, 8,000 yen MSRP, not too bad at all. We'll go through all the runners here in just a moment. I do want to start off here taking a look at the instruction manual, which has a really cool image there of the front of the mecha there and the face and everything all lit up. On the inside pages here, the parts list with these grayed out sections being parts that are not going to be used, probably parts from the original version, I would gather, and then that continues on to the next page, and then we're on into the construction. So the construction going to be pretty straightforward there, but we do have quite a few pages. The centerfold pages here, more color images of the fully, I was going to say fully painted kit, although I believe these might be, once again, 3D renders. Here's showing a few other different like M.S.G option parts on there. So of course it's going to be highly compatible. There's our paint guide over here on this side, or color guide. And then the rest is just the construction, the transformation, and going all the way to the end here. We don't have any decals or anything included, so there's no decal guide, so that's it for the manual. Getting into our runners then, we've got a polycap runner here in medium gray. This is kind of normal polycap material. And then we've got the M.S.G hand part option set of the wild hands here. These are, again, this set I don't believe is meant to be scaled, but these are typically thought of as 1/100 scale hand parts here. And then we've got runner A, which is in a darker red. So we basically got two tones of red with this kit, a lighter and darker tone. The darker tone looks nice, and there you can see some of that nice molded detail there on some of the parts, looking really good. And then runners B, C, and D are going to be some armor pieces here in the lighter red color, which is in just basically kind of like a true red. Runners B and D being much smaller runners, runner C being this nice big full runner here. Runner E we have two of, and it's back to the darker red color right there for some more armor pieces. And then runner F we have two of as well for the remainder of our red armor pieces. This is once again in the lighter of the two red colors. Runners G and H are in a medium gray here for what is the bulk of the internal frame here. We have one of runner G, two of runner H. That's going to be mostly for like arms and legs. Runner I is here in clear blue for some effect parts. Those look really nice. Runner J is a few more frame parts and the landing gear parts here in gray. And then runners K and L we have two of, is going to be for our clear parts for the kit, the clear yellowish orange parts, which those look really nice as well. And last but not least, runner M is here in ABS gray plastic for some more parts for the frame, and that's it. All right, and here's what the kit looks like all put together. And one thing that I noticed while building this kit is without those clear orange parts on there. And if you saw this in a dark room, you might mistake this for the Shinanju just based on like the color and the design, overall the proportions of this. The silhouette, it's not too far off from the Shinanju, interestingly enough. So it's a cool design for sure. And once again, with this version, we have a lot of great surface detail on there that's definitely going to look really nice when all painted, or at the very least just detailed up with a little bit of panel lining. There are going to be a number of spots where you do have some seam lines, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but its weapons and equipment is also really pretty cool, so let's go ahead and check that out here first. So first off, just real quick to go through our hand options. These are once again the Kotobukiya wild hand option sets, so you have those closed fists there. We also have a set of these open hands for the left and the right side, which do look very cool. Nice pose for those. And then we've got two different types of holding hands for both the left and the right side. As you can see, the whole shape is going to be a little bit different. So for a rectangular size handle, you're going to use this one. For a circular style handle, you're going to use this one. So you can just choose the right option hand for whatever you're trying to hold. And the main weapon we're going to be holding here is this really cool rifle that we've got. This time it does have this really nice blade there on the end, this clear yellow part to kind of match the style of the kit overall. And although I don't think it's really noted in the manual, with the original version, this barrel at the end was meant to like fold back like that, which you can still do with this one. And that's going to be part of the transformation, I think, but just a word on that you can do that. And this hard point right here is useful for being able to store the rifle underneath this kind of back skirt section. It's kind of weird to call it a back skirt, not really much of a back skirt in the way that we're traditionally used to them, but that can be stored up underneath there like so when not in use, and it's all right looking, I gotta say. Over here on this side, on both sides of the hips, actually just like attached to the side of the leg here. If we pop these off, these are going to be asymmetrical, as one has the peg on the left side, the other one's on the right side, but this is actually going to slide and be our like kind of beam saber. And so this is where we're going to use these clear blue effects. Just going to plug into there like that, and then there's the handle, and it can hold on to this. And so then obviously we've got two of those, and these can also be attached together. We have this attachment piece here, which just attaches there, and you can attach the other one onto the opposite side, and then it makes for a really cool double-ended beam saber with a really nice looking effect part. That's the thing, the effect parts on this kit do look really cool. And speaking of effect parts, here is the other effect part. Now this is going to be for when it's transformed. This kind of goes on the nose cone, and I'll show you guys how that looks here in just a bit, but this is just an attachment piece there to kind of add to the kind of blast effect of, yeah, I guess just there's a kind of cannon at the very end, of this is what would be the nose cone when it's transformed. And this part opens up like that, and there's this cannon detail in there, and then this is going to basically plug into there like that. So like I said, I'll show you how that looks in just a moment. But last couple things to note is we do have some landing gear. So when it's transformed into the fighter mode, if you just want to have this parked or in like kind of a landed state, these are going to go essentially when it's transformed to this bit here on the crotch, and these parts here on the knees are going to come off, and we're going to add these landing gear parts inside there. And lastly, the shield here, which again has these cool clear yellow blade parts on there, and this is going to plug up into the forearm of the left side. You have that hard point there where this will plug into. And so you can then keep this here on the back side of the arm, or you can just kind of turn this to the side like that to turn it around onto the side of the arm if you wanted to, if you prefer. And on that note, if we go around here onto the other arm, this panel on the back side of the arm actually opens up, again, kind of similar to like the nose cone part there. Kind of open that up and out like so, and inside there is that little kind of machine gun, Gatling gun there in the forearm, which is pretty cool as well. And so as I mentioned, as you guys can hopefully see, there's a lot of nice surface detail on here. You have like sections where there's not a lot of detail, and it just kind of depends. I think it's really nicely placed in that you have nice detail around here and there. It's not like overwhelming with tons of it, but some nice bits that once it's painted is going to look really nice. I think really nicely designed to look very similar in terms of the amount of detail and the design of the detail to look very much like an aircraft, which obviously with this transforming into an aircraft form, into a fighter form, I think that makes a lot of sense. So I think that was a really nice design sort of philosophy here for this one. But as I mentioned, there's going to be a number of seam lines, notably here on this part of like the front ankle armor right there. There's a seam right there. If we go up onto the forearms, you have a seam on the inside of the forearm there, on the top of the shoulder. There's going to be a seam on that dark red part right there. And a couple more like here on this back skirt nose cone section here. There's a seam running down like the side of these red parts. So a number of seams to consider if you are planning on painting the kit. Nothing really too bad. And as far as the articulation goes, as you guys will see once we get into some poses here in just a moment, the articulation is really, really nice. It's got that nice, basically full inner frame there. It all feels pretty tight, except for there are a couple of parts where it does feel like a little loose, like for example here, this joint which allows for like your twist and turn here in the torso section. That's probably a little bit too loose, but if you do end up finding that you have joints that are a little bit loose, you can just add a little bit of tape or a little bit of paint or a little bit of glue, whatever is your preferred method for just tightening joints, and that'll work perfectly fine there. Or if you're planning on painting the kit, I imagine the paint will probably do the trick to tighten everything up for you as you might need. And one last thing you may notice here on the underside, that doesn't look like your standard 3mm peg hole attachment part for putting this on an action base, but interestingly enough, for just like your regular Bandai action base, if you don't have any attachment part on the top of it, that will fit into this part here. So basically, if you want to use this with any of your Bandai action bases, it will just fit in there directly, which is pretty convenient. But alright, so just to wrap up the review, then we'll take a look at the kit and a few different poses here. We'll also take a look at it transformed into the fighter mode. The transformation is not too complex. It's pretty simple and straightforward. If you just follow the manual, you won't have any trouble transforming the kit. It doesn't take too long. And one thing that I really like about this transformation, and that's something that I talked about a lot in the review of the first version, is that it looks so good when it's transformed. It looks very convincing as like an actual like fighter jet sort of mode and not just like a folded up robot, and it fits together really nice and tightly and everything. You don't see a lot of those robot shapes actually showing through, so it's definitely one of the better looking transformed mecha units, at least in my opinion. You guys can let me know what you think of the transformation in the comment section down below, but whether in transformed fighter mode or in the regular kind of robot mode, I think this kit looks great. Like I said, the whole kind of Diablo kind of added design aesthetic with this one to having the kind of more kind of edgy design, and then with all like the sharp, pointy, clear parts and stuff, is not really to my taste. I kind of prefer the original white version between the two anyway, but let me know what you guys think in the comments, which version you guys prefer. But anyway, both are fantastic kits, and if you missed the original Garudagear kit, the white one, when that came out, and you guys have been wanting to try it out, I would highly recommend picking up this one if you can, because it's a really fun and interesting kit, and especially if you're really craving something like a master grade, like a 1/100 scale mecha model kit like this, and especially a fully transforming one. If that's something you're craving, I cannot recommend this kit enough. You guys really should check it out. And I gotta say, I'm really hoping that Kotobukiya will continue with this line and make some more, not only just kind of variations, but maybe make them a little bit more different, and the variations would be cool as well. So it's something that they've kind of kicked off with the first release, and then it was a little bit of a way before this one finally came out. And we don't really have anything on the horizon at the moment, but I hope that this is something that we'll see some more of from Kotobukiya. It's fantastic. I don't know why this really isn't just like a part of the frame arms line, to be honest, but either way, it's a really cool kit, and if you guys want to check it out for yourself or anything else from Kotobukiya, you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. We've got all sorts of great stuff there from Kotobukiya, model kits, as well as figures and option parts and everything else, so check out all that good stuff. And if you also wouldn't mind leaving a like, making sure that you're subscribed while you're here, really appreciate all your guys' support. Thank you so much. Until next time, hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.